What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Big Kim, and today we are unboxing another Marvel Hot Toys 1/6 scale collectible figure. And today that would be Anthony Mackie's Captain America from Captain America Brave New World. Just came out earlier in February this year, and they already have Hot Toys out for it, which feels very quick but also awesome. This box is quite large. It's not the normal size box, but you can see Anthony Mackie's Captain America on the front there, his Sam Wilson, and he looks really good, you know. It's got a bit of the wing effect in the red here going on to the side of the box, Captain America on the side, Avengers logo down the bottom, Captain America shield up top, legal information around the back, same thing on the other side. I don't know about y'all, this is very exciting for me, and I just gotta slide this off and see what this figure's looking like. Oh wow, this thing looks sweet. The way that the red pops on his boots and on his gauntlets comes with, it looks like 3 different sets of hands, 4 including the ones that come with him. Comes with his goggles, comes with Red Wing, comes with a swap out helmeted head sculpt, which is kind of nice because it feels like, you know, Steve Rogers Captain America's always have the normal head sculpt and a helmeted head sculpt. So it's nice that Sam now has a version of that and more fitting to him because he's more of a fighter pilot, so it's more of a fighter pilot's helmet. But let's pop open this box and see what Anthony Mackie's Captain America is looking like, and then see what his accessories are looking like. All right, so we have popped off the top layer of this clamshell here, and you can see the 3 different hands and the ones they come with. We'll take a better look at that figure in a second. There is like this plastic thing for, I believe that's for Red Wing up there. There's also this plastic hook that is for the shield to go onto the back. You know, like kind of like Captain America's holstered his shield. This weird ball peg thing, those are for the wings. You can see the wings, big old wings underneath there. There's a whole nother layer underneath there that we'll check out after. But yeah, nice little Red Wing. Little paint applications. It is quite thin, but I really dig that Red Wing design. You can see a updated shield there. It's got a couple more like design lines inside the star. It also seems to have, you know, a couple extra lines through the silver portions. Got like that nice red color to it. Not bad. But let's take a closer look at this fig here, huh? Pop off that plastic. You don't need that. Ooh, boy. I really dig that. And we'll get an even better look when we pop off the head to get the plastic neck thing off. But there is a bit of a headline around the back, but I believe that's mostly for so he can get his head like back and up for flying poses. But you can see that little hole in the back there. That's where that little plastic thing goes so that he can mount his shield on his back. But not bad. The red boots look really good. The gauntlets, you know, these things, this material feels like it can slide up and down pretty easily. Gauntlets move so you can adjust for posing and wrist peg however you'd like. Kind of the same material as like Avengers cap on the arms, it feels like, so that it shouldn't have too much of a problem posing for long periods of time and it shouldn't damage the suit, which is nice. But for a brand new fig, the tread on bottom of the boots, for a brand new Marvel fig, you know, I've gotten a couple of them now, like, you know, very, very new figures. Like, some of them are older, like the, you know, Cap and the Bro Thor, the Gladiator Hulk and Gladiator Thor. You know, those aren't necessarily still being sold on the website right now. But this bad boy is like a pre-order. Like, you can't even necessarily buy him unless you pre-ordered him. And I just so happen to have myself a copy, and I am very excited. This head sculpt does come with some rolling eyes. I've yet to try that effect, but maybe I got to give him like some side eye and show you guys what that's looking like when we look closer at this figure in his head sculpt. But just first impressions, I'm really digging the look of this bad boy. I mean, he does look like Anthony Mackie so much. I've heard getting those goggles on is a bit of a pain, but I'm going to try my best, and then I'll get everything that's in this box here laid out in front of you, and we'll take a look at all of the accessories that Captain America from Captain America Brave New World comes with. All right, everybody, everything taken out of the box for this Captain America from Captain America Brave New World, and Sam Wilson's Captain America is looking great. And just look at the wingspan on these wings. We'll check out these first. They do articulate a little bit. There is some bending elements, right? Like, so you want to be careful. You don't want to mess up these parts, but there is hinges along the edge there so that you can, you know, get them into different angles and stuff, and we'll show that more in the posing section of this video. But they do look really good, and I can't wait to get him on his back and see what the wingspan is looking like on this guy, just like standing in front of me. But you can see his upgraded shield, and he's got, you know, the little extra markings in the middle of the star and that little line ring going around the silver portion. And then you can see his base there with his kind of Captain America logo with the wings on the star. That's kind of like Sam Wilson's Captain America logo. We can check out his helmet in closer detail. So you can see the details in his helmet here. He's got like some paint, you know, almost metallic paint on the helmet there. But the paint color looks pretty damn good. The Sam Wilson eyes behind the mask. I mean, I am really digging this head sculpt, and I might just have to rep this one on the body, you know, with the air nozzle going around the side to the back. Almost kind of reminds me of like a Star Wars TIE Fighter pilot helmet. But this bad boy is for going Mach 10 or whatever speeds he's reaching up in the sky. Very cool. I like that a lot. But seeing some of his other accessories, we have his glasses here that will go on his head. I have yet to try it, but that little clip on the back there seems like it might be very difficult to get in and out of there. So we'll try our best with that. This little ball peg thing slots into his back, and we'll show his back in more detailed look at the figure in just a second. But these little ball pegs smack into that little holes there, and then that's where his wings hook on to, and then you can slide open over the backpack over the top of that to cover that up so that's not exposed. I believe this is for Red Wing. This is for mounting onto his back, so his shield can be mounted onto his back. We'll take a closer look at these hands. We got splayed out hands for either side, 8 hands in total. I like kind of like the triangle detail on the top of his glove there with the fingers exposed. Pretty cool. And then you got 2 holding the shield hands, and then you have 2 punching hands, and then 2 kind of relaxed or maybe hands back flying hands, you know what I mean? But very cool indeed. Take a closer look at Red Wing. Comes with this little pole that can attach to his flight pole so that you can have Red Wing in a dynamic pose as well. I believe this pole bends in all types of shapes and ways, so you can pose it however you'd like. But looking at Red Wing, not a bad little bird. Wouldn't it be funny if Sam Wilson in the MCU didn't have like technology Red Wing and he actually could talk to birds like the comic books? But that, I think, is pretty cool. But let's take a closer look at this figure. You can see his boots kind of have this design where the metal flaps can go up if he is in like a articulated pose and you need some extra, you know, wiggle room. There is some parts on his boots that like make it so his feet can get to some different angles. I had him kind of in like a Captain Morgan with his foot up. But I do love that, you know, they imply that like, hey, when he is flying at crazy speeds, these can get slid down to his gauntlets and lock in, and then that can block off his arm. But they just don't do that for the movie. But like the material on the suit looks really good. I might have to get the white Sam Wilson suit. I do really like that one as well from the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show. But I really did like Brave New World, the movie as well. And I may or may not already have Red Hulk on his way. But because Sam can fly, you can see the little, where like the boosters would come out of his boots. But you can see the pack on the back. That hole in the middle there goes for that little plastic piece where his helmet or his shield can be stored on his back. These pieces pop off. I'll try and do that in a second for you guys as well. You can see the back of his head there. It does have like a bit of a gap, but I believe this is for, you know, so he can get his head up in kind of like a flying pose, you know what I mean? But taking a closer look at this Anthony Mackie head sculpt, the details and the texture and the hair feels really good. The little like earpiece he has in there, when I saw that at first I was like, does Sam Wilson have a hearing aid? But no, I think it's just like a, you know, so he could talk to Joaquin Torres, Danny Ramirez from that movie. I wonder if they'll come out with that figure as well, with his kind of comic book accurate Falcon suit. But I've never really played around with the eye rolling effects in figures, and I tried it out with this one, and something about that side eye, you know, like Anthony Mackie is judging you. You know, like what if he, come on now. Come on now. You know Big Fudge ain't got no padding in this suit. This is me, baby, all me. I fill out this suit. You ain't need no padding in my suit. You know, look at the cake. That's that Captain America's ass. That's Black Fudge's ass. I can picture Anthony Mackie saying all types of shit like that. But yeah, no, not a bad looking figure. I really kind of do dig this head sculpt. I don't want to ruin it by putting the glasses on it, but the glasses kind of fill in the look so well. And I don't know, something about this figure. I'm like been looking at it for a couple days now. It's been on my desk and I'm just like, yeah, no, this thing is beautiful. And something about Captain America, just the colors, what they stand for, and like just the vibe, the, you know, like the characters, the actors that are playing them. I got a real man crush for all things Captain America. I don't know why. He's one of my favorite characters. And I have another Captain America figure that I just bought the other day that I probably shouldn't have. And his unboxing will be coming out tomorrow. And he's actually a very exciting one because he's a retired Captain America that pretty much nobody has done a review for online. So I feel like I'm going to be one of the only people with a review up online for it. So that'll be exciting. But that will be coming out tomorrow. And let's toss this bad boy into some dynamic poses and see what he looks like with all his accessories on. Before we get into the poses, I just wanted to show that you can pop off his back panel like so. And then, you know, he's got like 3 little holes on his back. And I believe you put your finger into this hole and then you pry that up like so. Yep, trying not to break things in the process. They each kind of got like these little peg holes that they would slot into after the fact. Pop off this side as well. And then the bracket for the wings would go into his back like so. 2 on the bottom, 1 on the top. And you want to make sure you hear that click and they slot in flush on either side. And then I believe you can pop this little portion back on over the top. And then you kind of have like a flush wing set again. And then the wings would attach on the ball peg right there. So yeah, that's how the accessories go on the back. And then if you want to take it off, I'm sure it comes off just as easy. This clipped in there, so this might need a little bit of a force to get out of there, and I don't want to break it on camera, but yeah, so it just pops off and then that comes off again. All right, so we have Sam Wilson here standing in front of us, and he has his goggles on, which are a bit of a struggle to get on, and you just got to make sure that it clasps in the back. And now that they are on, I think I'm going to leave them on. But also pretty much a struggle to get on is the shield on his back with that little plastic piece. I suggest putting in the plastic piece first and then taking off both of the straps on the shield, and then he sits on his back a little bit easier. But if you're struggling with it, don't, you know, force it on there because you don't want to break the shield as well in the process. But I think the suit does look really good with the normal splayed out hands, like his like kind of relaxed hand, but also maybe like a grabbing hand. And I like how far his arms can get down by his side. You know, it doesn't feel like he's too thick. You know, it feels like he's a person, the way he can put his hands by his side. But yeah, I really liking the pop of the red gauntlets and how shiny that like red is, but also then the red on his suit is a pretty good shade of color, although the reds are a little bit different from like his belly red to like his shoulder straps red to his gauntlet red. I think it's 3 different reds, but on camera, the belly and at least the gauntlets look similar, but I think you can tell that the red on his shoulder straps is a little darker. But I think that's also the way it was in the movie, because I don't remember the red in the film popping so much. You know, it felt like a very muted suit, almost kind of like Captain America from Endgame's suit. But now that we have Sam Wilson in one pose, let's see what he's looking like with his wings. So we got Sam here standing in front of me with his wings spread, his arms down by his side, his goggles on, but the red wing also up over his shoulder flying, and just really wanted to show off the absolute incredible wingspan on this thing. So, you know, maybe you're getting this figure and you don't have a whole lot of width on the shelf. So maybe you're going to have to get him and pose him just as himself without the wings. But I feel like if you get a Captain America that's Sam Wilson, you know, a Falcon, he's got to have his wings, right? You know, like, so I feel like I'm going to have to display him with his wings. But let's look at a couple of other poses. So now we have him with his helmet look on and the flight pole underneath him so that he can get this nice flying pose with the wings back, and, you know, like he's about to set himself into supersonic speed, you know, like, although the wrist sleeves in the movie should have been down for that scene, you know what I mean? But it's fine. The suit looks really good. The helmet looks good. The helmet looks better than I expected it to look, but it does match the suit really well, and it looks really good on him. So I might just have to rep this figure with the helmeted look on. But let's get him with his shield and maybe a couple action poses with that, and then see what he's looking like next to some other Captain Americas. All right, we got Captain America here in a couple of different poses. The first one here, he's got his hands down by his side, nice and close. The shield is on his back, and he's got his goggles on. In the second pose, he's got his wings spread nice and wide. He's got red wing above him, you know, looking like the full wingspan, showing that off. And then in the third look, we got the helmeted look and the wings outstretched and as if he's flying and soaring above. And then we have the fourth look with the helmet on while trying to throw, or like as if the shield's maybe coming back to him and he's catching it, and the wings are like folded around him, showing off the wing articulation. And then the fifth pose, holding the shield, wings down by his side, and kind of this intimidation pose. He's holding his shield. He's got red wing up over his shoulder. He's got the wings ready to go, you know, out front in front of him, ready to protect him if anything's coming in, or, you know, protecting him from the sides, or ready to like make that little shell that he does when he, like, you know, protects somebody from an incoming blast, or protecting himself from that incoming blast. I like how the wings can form like a shell around him, and with the shield on top, it makes like this perfect impenetrable protective dome type of thing. And I really do love this Captain America figure. I can't wait to get the Red Hulk, you know, Harrison Ford's Red Hulk from Captain America Brave New World, and put him next to Sam Wilson's Captain America on my shelf, and, you know, just to have another Hulk in my collection, but one that is a red one, you know, like that's gonna be sick. Although I'm sure that figure won't have a ton of accessories, but I'm sure it will still be fun to unbox and pose and put next to some other figures. So here's a nice little figure comparison with Bucky here next to Sam Wilson, and Bucky does make a brief appearance as a congressman in Captain America Brave New World. And Sam Wilson here without his goggles, and he's got his shield equipped, and, you know, just standing casually. But I do, you know, sitting here in front of me, I think the Sebastian Stan head sculpt looks pretty good. And I thought this figure looked really good when I was initially unboxing it, but seeing him next to a brand new, you know, 2025 Hot Toys, the proportions in Sam's build, like his traps, his arms, his shoulders, everything just feels so much better. You know, like, sure, the Sebastian Stan head sculpt looks pretty good, and standing there next to Sam, you're like, yeah, that's Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan for sure. But, you know, you could just start noticing little things like Bucky's body, you know, is a little too skinny, you know, and he's supposed to be the super soldier. Shouldn't he be slightly bigger, or if not comparable size to Sam, you know, where Sam looks jacked and he's just a normal dude right here? But not my favorite, but maybe this Winter Soldier would look better next to the white Captain America suit from the Falcon Winter Soldier TV show. But I don't know, maybe the upgraded Bucky that we should be getting from the Thunderbolts film can look a little bit better next to this Sam Wilson. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll have to go get like the Winter Soldier from the Captain America Winter Soldier movie, but that's an even older figure, so who knows what that head sculpt's gonna look like. Although I love that design of the Winter Soldier with the silver arm, the red star. You know, although I like this black and gold Wakandan arm, not my favorite look, but I am glad that I have this Bucky figure, but I don't know if I'll be putting Sam Wilson next to him. I think this Sam is honestly just going to be displayed by himself. But let's grab another Captain America to slap next to Sam Wilson. So we have 2012's Cap, Avengers Cap from Avengers 1. And, oh man, do I miss seeing Steve Rogers' Captain America on screen. I really hope that Sam in the future gets a suit that with the blue that pops as much as the original suit did. And, you know, it's funny though, because like the original blue pops so much more, but then look at like Sam's boots, and this like new red looks so much better on his boots and gauntlets than the red did on the 2012 suit. But then like the calves on the 2012 suit are ginormous. You know, the proportions on that 2012 Avengers suit still looks pretty good, but the head sculpt is garbage compared to this Sam Wilson 2025. You know, looks so much better. And you know, the way that his eyes can turn, like I have him with his goggles on with a little bit of a looking left off to the side eye angle. And, you know, it really does add something to the character and really brings it to life in front of me. And it almost makes me want to not rep Sam Wilson with his glasses. But, you know, just to put him next to another Captain America, you can see the shield here is quite, you know, upgraded with the ring around the silver, the little details on the middle of the star, where this one's a little bit battle damaged, but you can see how, you know, it is a different shield and upgraded from the original 2012 Avengers look, although I really love how that shield looks as well. But let's grab the most recent Chris Evans Captain America from Endgame. Cap on your left, but who's saying it now? Because they're both Caps and they're both on each other's left. No, to our right, Sam Wilson's left, is Steve Rogers, Captain America, in his almost black, scaly looking armor suit from Avengers Endgame. You can see barely any red popping off of him and barely any blue. Honestly, it's like so navy, it's even darker than the navy blue on Sam's suit. That's kind of crazy. And I do like the Chris Evans head sculpt that Captain America suit came from, but you kind of have to rep the helmeted look from that movie, and you have to put the hammer in his hand, get that, you know, Mjolnir action going, because Steve is totally worthy. And I wonder if one day, you know, Sam will be worthy to hold the shield or something like that. You know, he is Captain America, so maybe one day that would be cool to eventually get. But I'm still curious on who Sam's Avengers are that he's assembling. And I'm still curious if Steve Rogers will ever come back, or is he just old forever now? I think he might be on the moon. Why throw that line in there unless it's just a joke? But also, I don't accept that he just went back in time, got old, and now Sam's Captain America. I like Sam as Captain America, but I don't think that he needed to be Captain America and Chris Evans just needed to retire. Like, he's not that old. Like, come on. I get it. He has been in the MCU a long time along with RDJ, but like, hey, RDJ's coming back as Doctor Doom, and Chris Evans came back as Human Torch in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie last year. So he clearly isn't tired of acting or being a superhero, or he wouldn't have come back as the Human Torch, right? You know, so maybe he just wanted a little bit of a break from Captain America, and now it's been some years, you know, at least 5-6 years, and maybe he's ready again to pick up the helmet and the shield again. I know I would be incredibly happy if that was the case, but let's toss this bad boy on the shelf and see what he's looking like fully decked out with his wings and his goggles and the shield. All right, we got Sam Wilson here with a little bit of his wings stretched out in front of the Darth Vader and Superman statues next to the Spider-Mans above the Avengers Cap and Bucky, and maybe they'll end up next to him or something, and I'll play around with a little bit. I was trying to get the wings fully outstretched, but the wingspan is crazy and just won't do it. You know, like you need a wider space than this if you want to have him fully stretched out wings on the shelf. But, you know, I was trying to get him like relaxed down to his side, but this is like somewhere in the middle, I guess. I don't know if I love how this looks. I might have to rep him without the wings. I don't know. Comment below. Maybe I just need to spend some more time posing with the wings and messing with them to get them look the way I want to. But, you know, it seems like they're a little bit of a hassle, and there's not like, there's joints like where they hinge, but they hinge at like certain spots, you know, which doesn't necessarily feel like the wings would from the movie, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. Obviously, this is not nanotech, you know, like in vibranium. This is a Sideshow Hot Toys 1/6 scale Marvel figure, and Captain America from Captain America Brave New World, capturing the likeness of Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson. I think they did a really good job. I mean, the head sculpt looks great, the shield looks great, the suit looks great. Maybe my least favorite part is the wings, but I mean, I really can't complain about that too much, because if I don't want the wings, I can take them off, and, you know, if I want another Captain America, I got them, you know, so it's not the biggest deal. And I actually have another Captain America coming out tomorrow that might be actually my favorite Captain America. So stay tuned for that Hot Toys unboxing coming to the channel soon. And if you've made it this far in the video and you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do that is liking this video, commenting down below, subscribing if you haven't, and you hit the bell if you would like to see future Hot Toys unboxings and you want to get the notifications when those come out. Thank you guys so much for coming on by. Once again, my name is Big Cam. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and sticking around and spending time with me. And I will see you beautiful people in the next Hot Toys unboxing video. Peace.